The Taurus New Moon occurs annually in the time of the year that's the midway point between the spring or vernal equinox and the summer solstice. A time when we're called to honor the sanctity of life and the sacredness of life of the Earth, our home planet. Taurus season brings Earth Day in April, followed by Mother's Day in early May. Taurus is fixed Earth energy, its season coinciding with the heart of spring, when the ground thaws after a long winter and life begins to blossom again. Where I live in the northeastern United States, we tend to hold off on starting our gardens until around Mother's Day, allowing the weather, the very bipolar weather here in the Northeast, to stabilize a bit. Unless you're planting something like lettuce, which loves cold nights, then you can plant that early. That's a nugget of wisdom from my Taurus Moon father. More to come. It's a time to slow down and ask ourselves, how are we connecting with and living with the Earth? How are we connecting with and grounding down through our 5 senses? How are we living with the Earth and connecting with nature? Have groceries gotten so expensive to essentially force you into the hobby of having a home garden? When was the last time you took a walk barefoot in nature? Whether that was the grass in your backyard, if you're lucky enough to have one, or the sand on a beach. And how are you embodying Earth energy right now? Are we grounding down through cooking food with ingredients that are from the earth? Whole foods? Or is it a highly processed diet containing long lists of ingredients we can't even pronounce? The sun and moon aligned in Taurus indicates that this is a new beginning, grounded in patience, presence, and rooted in commitment and consistency that'll pay off in the long run. Ripple effects we'll see for years to come. The moon is said to be exalted in the sign of Taurus because the moon is at its best here. Taurus's stability strengthens and sturdies the highly changeable nature of the moon. The highly changeable influence of this incredibly fertile and naturally nurturing moon placement. Moon in Taurus craves security and stability, implying that there could be a lack of it with some sort of large-scale financial crisis. Moon affects the public, and Jupiter is there expanding the energy for all to feel. I mentioned earlier my dad has his moon in Taurus, and it's beautiful energy. It's where the moon is exalted, whether the person identifies as masculine or feminine. It usually bestows an ability to work with ingredients of the earth and of nature to combine them into some beautiful and delicious sensual cooking. So the moon is steadied and grounded in the sign of Taurus. And if I could best describe the energy, especially in comparison or in partnership with my own Gemini moon, he is like a rock to these Gemini and Aquarius energies that are really adaptable and or prone to and or like change. But if you ask this man for emotional advice, he will look you in the face and point blank tell you to just not think about it. And I think it really is that peaceful for him. Unfortunately, if you have a Mercury-ruled moon like myself, you are prone to overthink. And this is not something one easily turns off. Also, they're expanding the energy there. Jupiter in Taurus is practical, grounded, patient, generous, and pragmatic. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, wisdom, and expansion. And it's prominent under this new moon, not only because it's in loose conjunction to the new moon, but because it coincides, the new moon coincides with the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. Jupiter will be increasingly important over the next few weeks as it prepares for the optimistic and joyful Sagittarius full moon on May 23rd. And finally, Jupiter's ingress, or 12-month sojourn, through the constellation Gemini, the twins, Castor and Pollux, until June 2025. That means any of you with Gemini placements like myself, you'll get a nice benefic boost, even though Jupiter is technically debilitated in Gemini. Watch out for things like too many irons in the fire, and if you're like myself who also has her Mars in Gemini, this is something I definitely have to consciously practice, especially with Mars at the 13th degree of Gemini, karmic degree. It is a pattern of cardinal energy is really good at starting things. That's the Libra, that's the Aries. Fixed signs are really good at seeing things through to completion. Mutable signs are highly adaptable. Mutable air sign, air fuels fire. Mars brings fire in conjunction with the moon, kind of like an Aries moon with a big boost of Gemini. Any of your Gemini placements will be expanded by the presence of Jupiter. So any of those habits, for me, Gemini has a lot of interest. It's like a jack of all trades, but master of none. It's very good at a lot of things, and that is a good problem to have, because at the end of the day, if you have to start at ground zero, you have options. You have many skills and many talents to pick yourself up and work with, especially your people skills, your communication skills, and your ability to learn and adapt quickly. However, when Jupiter is there, watch for that tendency to start things but not finish them, or say yes, thinking that you can juggle multiple things, and because you want to and you're genuinely interested in multiple things, but realistically there is only so much time in a day. So watch for the tendency to spread oneself really thin and leading to burnout or biting off more than you can chew. The Sun co-present with the Moon in Taurus highlights stability, patience, and determination. Sun in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Fixed or set. It's the sign that's the most resistant to change. And that's because change threatens the very peace and stability Taurus works so hard to secure. The element Earth bestows profound respect and appreciation for the planet Earth and nature. People with prominent Taurus placements tend to be very naturalistically intelligent. They have a lot of natural survival skills, and they can cook, or they have an interest in things like foraging, combining ingredients from the earth and their love of nature all into creative little hobbies. It's very Taurus. Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, bestowing exceptional creative, artistic, and/or musical creative energy, a love and appreciation of beauty and art, along with fine food and drink. But also, anything Venus ruled needs to watch for a tendency to overindulge, especially in luxuries and the finer things. Watch for materialism when Taurus is in shadow. The glyph Taurus is symbolized by a circle and a semicircle. It's a bowl representing its strong, determined nature. The circle representing willpower, and the cup representing material wealth. The two go hand in hand. One must have willpower to attain material wealth. Everything in life begins from laying a solid foundation. The Sun and Moon are aligned 18 degrees 2 minutes Taurus, which falls within the second decan of Taurus, the area of Taurus that's ruled by planetary ruler Venus and sub-ruled by planet Mercury, presenting a more Virgo flavor to its energy. This is about seeking justice and bestows strong speaking and writing ability, and it connects us to the deeply healing conjunction occurring between Mercury and Chiron in the late degrees of Aries, which we'll explore later on. The Sun and Moon aligned 18 degrees Taurus rounds up to 19 degrees in the Sabian Symbols, a newly formed continent representing originality and fresh opportunities. At its highest, this degree represents creative and sweeping vision with a potential to transform the world. Expect and work for the best to get the best, while at the same time avoid biting off more than you can realistically chew or digest and accomplish.